Today, we kick off our journey with the Utah Tech Gremlins, the 0 overall team builder that is the newest addition to the Big Ten Conference. And while kicking off that journey in this episode won't mean gameplay quite yet, this episode will lay the foundation for the team that we will have in year one. This is technically year one, but since it's a 0 overall team, I'm considering this year 0 of the rebuild. It is a setup year all about the recruits. And because we're a 0 overall team, this is a year in recruiting that it'll be a little bit different than how I usually recruit. Typically, I am a quality over quantity guy when it comes to recruiting. I'll take a class with 18 players, but 6 of them are 4 stars over a class of 30 where it's all 3 and 2 stars. But for this season, it is imperative that we get 35 players. That's the max we can get. If we could get more, it'd be imperative that we got more. But because we are limited to 35 scholarships, we need to use each and every one of them, because I'm not allowing myself 2 years to build up this program from 0 overall. We're going to start watching games next season. And so I've come up with a bit of a list on how I want to use these 35 slots, because not only is it important that we use 35, but we need to use them in the correct positions so we can actually fill the roster. I'll throw it up here on the screen, but precision is going to be everything in this recruiting class. Not only do we need 35, but they need to be the correct positions so that we can have a starting roster and also have a little bit of flexibility for injury, formations, etc. I would love to have more than 2 running backs, which I have on this list. That's really scary to only have 2. And you could say that for a lot of these other positions as well. But this is probably the best way that, in my mind, we can use 35 scholarships for this season. So let's go ahead and talk about our recruiting board. Now you're going to take a look at this recruiting board, and it's going to go pretty much against everything I just said, because even though I said I need quantity over quality for this season, I've still got all 4-star players on my board right now. And I've also scouted them all, which you could say I could have used my time elsewhere. And that would certainly be a good argument, because even the busts, I know they're busts and I still offer them scholarships. But the reason I scouted these 4 stars isn't to see if there are gems or busts, although I'm certainly happy we have some gems that we'll talk about in just a minute. But it's just to make sure that they're athletic enough. This game, they announced kind of in the lead up to it that they wanted to nerf the athleticism, especially of the athletes. And they certainly did that to the point where I think they way overdid it. There's 4-star receivers with 82 speed in this game. So I mostly scouted these guys to make sure they're up to snuff athletically. And by the time you get to their speed, it's only 10 more hours to finish off their profile to see if they are a gem or a bust or whatever. But let's go ahead and talk through our board. Number 1, Anthony DeBeer, who is a running back out of Texas. He has Utah Tech as the number 3 school on his board, mostly because this dude just wants to play ball, and he knows that Utah Tech is absolutely going to give him the opportunity to do that next season. 0 chance of a red shirt for him. He's got excellent athleticism at 94 speed. He's a gem. I would love to get this player. Also, a guy named DeBeer coming to Utah to play football is just an awesome bit of circumstance. So Anthony DeBeer is the number 1 player on my board. He likes Utah Tech. Utah Tech very much so likes him back. He has Air Force and Sam Houston above us. So we'll see how heavily they recruit him. They have a silver pipeline compared to us, who doesn't have any pipeline whatsoever. Just so you're aware, because I don't think there's a lot of players on our board that we actually have pipelines with at all. We have pipelines in Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and the Pacific Northwest, and a little bit in California. So none of our pipelines are above a 3 either. So we're not going to be able to compete with schools with a level 5 pipeline, like the guys at the top of Muhammad Asamoah. But I really would love to snag this quarterback. Look at the accuracy starting out. 84 short, 82 medium. These guys are going to come in and play immediately, so we need their starting numbers to look good. He's got a good arm. Even for a pocket passer, 84 speed is really, really good. No mental or physical abilities, which is unfortunate, especially in the case of the mentals that you cannot develop. But Mo would be an awesome player to add. I think in most circumstances, he is an easy number 1 player on the board, but a running back named DeBeer with 94 speed just narrowly beats him out. We also have a gem receiver. The gems were much more abundant on the offensive side. All these guys have playing time as their deal breaker, and all these guys have Utah Tech inside their top 8. And in the case of Badgett and DeBeer, it's inside their top 5. He's not quite the maybe athlete as DeBeer and Asamoah, but really good starting ratings here. He can get off the line of scrimmage. He can run some decent routes, especially short and medium. He's got the catching, and the speed is good enough. Like I said, there are receivers with 82 speed that are 4 stars in this game. They way overdid the athleticism nerf. So I'll be happy with 89 easily. And then the last of our gems, another guy who has Utah Tech in his rankings towards the top is Brendan Carman. Only 87 speed for safety, but that's honestly kind of above average for this game's athleticism from what I've seen, at least from 4 stars. 74 zone coverage. I think he'd be a great addition. A 4-star gem that just kind of clears the bar athleticism-wise is going to be highly sought after by Utah Tech. He does have USC with that level 5 pipeline as his number 1 team, so that'll be rough. Badgett has a couple schools with pipelines ahead of us. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be really tough to recruit this year is really the reality of the situation for us, because we're going to be losing every game by 100, and that's not even an exaggeration. So school performance isn't going to help us at all. We're not really going to ever be able to bring people in for visits. So, I mean, bye-week complimentary visits are our best chance at visits. We have a bye week in week 5. We have a bye week in week 13 for this season. I did not change the schedule to try and aid us in any way there. So if we could get some complimentary visits with our top gems here for week 5, that could maybe push us over the top, but it's going to be tough. Then we get outside of the gems, but still very intriguing prospects. Matthew Manning at center, trying to build up the offensive line. Also with Olshansky, who does have us in his rankings. Manning does not. Schillens has us all the way down at number 9, but we're there. We're the only school in his top 9 without any pipelines, but he wants to be close to home. We're pretty close there. Good starting ratings for him. We have another receiver on our board, similar size speed combination here, but he doesn't have us on his board, so he's a little bit lower down the board for us. He's also not a gem. Gums here does have 90 speed, so he has that over the other safety on our board, but he also doesn't really have us in consideration, and he's not a gem. Blunt, so we're getting to the point where we got a lot of guys who are the second player we're scouting at the position. Blunt, he likes Utah Tech. He's just not super fast, but maybe he could be, the thunder to the lightning of DeBeer. Should we get them both? Mike Golden is a bust, but he has really solid starting ratings, and ultimately that's going to be fine. I'll take normal development as long as the guy can play early, and that's the case for both Golden and Kane here. I'm liking what I'm seeing on these player cards. One thing I will say, not being able to see strength or speed on offensive line this year is a major downgrade. Why on earth would you take away the ability to see speed and strength from us offensive linemen? I want to know if my big men are athletes, and they just took that away from us this year. That might be the thing I'm most annoyed about with college football 26 right now. They made it so that position by position you can see like the same ratings, so it's easier to compare. But then at the same time, they took out very important attributes. Weird decision. Earl Flavors is really just going to be a backup. If Asamoah ends up getting heavily recruited by the guys ahead of us on his list, we'll probably go back to Earl Flavors here, who is, despite being an athlete, dual threat athlete, his speed is actually lower. His acceleration is significantly higher, but the accuracies are nowhere near. So obviously I much prefer Asamoah if we can get him, but it's going to be very difficult to recruit. Now, despite the fact that we need 35 players, why is my board filled with 13 4-star players only? Well, just because we need quantity doesn't mean I'm going to totally give up on the quality, but make no mistake, with the exception of probably these gems at the top, I'll be running out of these races. I'll be pulling out if they're getting heavily recruited at all. If it looks like it's going to be a massive battle, then I'll just pull out of the race and start putting some of those hours towards 3 stars. This is really just a early season. Look and see if we can snag any under recruited 4 stars before we switch to the 3 stars. And ultimately, if we have to go all in on some 4 stars and it causes us to end up with a couple of 2 stars, I'd rather have a class that has some 4 stars and some 2 stars than a class of just solely 3 stars. Either way, I think even with this strategy that I've employed here, we are going to be able to get a class of 35 players eventually. The transfer portal is also going to be a massive help as well. One thing I did not talk about in the last episode was our coach. Last year in College Football 25, it was so easy to pick recruiter as your starting coach archetype, because all the good abilities in recruiter were in the first tier here. Now they switched that and made all the good abilities in elite recruiter, which you need 2 top 5 recruiting classes to even unlock, which at that point, do you even need elite recruiter if you're getting multiple top 5 classes? So I think that was a very questionable nerf to recruiter. In fact, I think a lot of the unlocks for the coaching tree, if I had one maybe idea for improvement, a lot of these you're not going to get until like 5 years into a dynasty, which at that point, a lot of people are closing up their dynasties. They're not looking to go another 5 years. So these things that, like, if it was either 2 top 25 classes or just 1 top 5 class, I could see it. But in the case of CEO winning 2 championships, at that point, I mean, some of these just take way too long. Or in the case of strategist, which I really want to unlock the strategist archetype, because with the addition of the dynamic deal breakers, being able to lower that threshold is going to be a massive boost toward, lowering how many players are just jettisoning from your program every year. But in order to do it, you need to win 4 bowl games, which if you're not going to the playoffs, it requires 4 successful seasons to even unlock it. That's crazy. There shouldn't be these things that are going to take 4 or 5 years of a dynasty to even unlock them. I think that would be my one idea for improvement. Ultimately, I almost went with Motivator just because I think Tier 1 Motivator is better than Tier 1 Recruiter now. Or shall I say the first top half of the tree, not Tier 1 of each ability. For Motivator, you're really looking to get Tier 3 to all these abilities. But the reason I went with Recruiter is twofold. One, I wanted to get that scouting boost because I like to scout the players I'm recruiting. I don't like to recruit blindly. And with our limited hours per week being a 2.5-star program, using those wisely by not having to spend 50 hours to scout players, I thought was pretty important. But also, I think it's going to be the easiest way for us to upgrade our coach early. You get recruits, you get XP for signing recruits through the recruiter tree, whereas you need to win to get XP in the tactician tree. We're not going to do that anytime soon. And you need to level up players to get levels in Motivator, which if it's anything like having a 0 overall team in Madden, they can technically like get the skill points to upgrade, but then they just don't upgrade. So it would take us a couple of years to really even get many people going through the Motivator tree either. So I went with Recruiter, A, to get the scouting boost. Scouting takes less time. And B, I think it's the fastest way to get our coach to level 10, at which point I will take Motivator. Looks like our backup plan at quarterback has already locked us out, but I didn't love him that much anyway. So we're down to 12 players here. We have 500 hours. So what I'm planning to use those on, I'm going to go after full bore on the top 8 players, and then we'll go 25 points on the final 4 players for now. And that's going to be the plan to start. We'll see how heavily these guys are being recruited. We won't really know until next week when obviously these other teams are putting hours into them too. If schools with bigger pipelines are sending the house on them, we're just going to give up early. And that is the plan for us. We got 2 more players to go through here. We'll give both of our 4-star busts 25, but it looks like, so Kane has 3, Golden has 6. We're the only ones for Blunt. It's us in Colorado, although he really likes the offer he got from Colorado. Oh, and Miami. I saw the green and I thought it was us, but that's Miami. He's got 3 other schools going for Teray here. Almost an entire list. 7 for Shillings. We do have the entire list for Olshansky. Nobody for Manning. That's good to see. We got 4 on Carmen, 5 on Badgent, 3 on Asamoah, and we are the only ones with the beer. Let's go. So guys like Olshansky, if these other schools are putting in recruits, this might be the last week we go with guys like Olshansky and Shillings. The only guys I'll probably fight for, if they are contested, are these 4 gems. The 25 points were not enough for either Kane or Gums to get inside their top 8 before they reach their top 8. So we're out of the race for 2 players already. In addition, it looks like Mike Golden is getting heavily recruited by Notre Dame, but we only put 25 hours. I wonder if we put 50, if that changes anything. We have these hours now. We'll put 50 into these 2 for the time being to get us back down to full use of hours. In terms of Anthony DeBeer, we remain the only school offering. We've jumped up to second, or I guess we've been second, but we made more progress than Kentucky last week by just a smidge, it looks like. They also don't have a pipeline bonus. The teams in his pipeline are not offering him right now. Badgent is getting recruited heavily by Minnesota and Iowa State, but he's one of the gems, so I'm going to keep fighting. We've jumped up to first for Carmen, into the race for Manning. Ooh, this is competitive, but we're number 1. We made the biggest leap of anyone. We'll stay with Olshansky for now. Yeah, Ohio State wants Shillings. Ohio State's getting Shillings. I think this is where we're going to get out early on these races that we just know we're not going to win. We'll go 1 more week on Teray. Some of these guys who are just barely putting us on our list, it takes a couple weeks to really get to know. Blunt will keep on, of course. And then we'll see with Golden. This might be our last week recruiting Golden as well. So there's a couple guys that might be removed next week. But now we've got 50 hours to play with to go and find someone else to put on our board. And you know what? I think, he's a bust. He's being heavily recruited. We are going to get out ahead of it. I will start adding 3 stars onto my board eventually, but we're going to go probably for our last 4-star here. There's a boundary corner here with 90 speed who is being recruited, but only has 1 offer from Memphis right now. So I'm hoping a week of putting 50 will just put us on the map with him and make things competitive. It doesn't look like Memphis even put that much into him despite, giving him an offer. So Looks like a battle we could maybe enter here. We're down to 9 targets. And we haven't even started losing games yet. JD Badgent has reached his top 5. So we are going to schedule a visit. It's going to be a bye week. Again, I think the bye week complimentary visits are going to be our best bet for this year. We also have a chance to start to sell him. Now, let's see what available sells we have. Just going through here. And it looks like it's going to be Star Search. Unless I missed one, I'll quickly go through to make sure I didn't. Yeah, it's going to be Star Search. We have an A+, a B, and a C+. I think that's worth switching to a sell. And then we'll, of course, keep those hours at 50. He is the only one thus far to make it to his top 5. Although by week 5, we should get there for both Asamoah and DeBeer to be able to schedule those visits as well to make it a complimentary visit. If we could even add a lineman there to increase the complimentary, that'd be, best case scenario. We've got 55 more hours to play with. We could add more to Blunt, but seeing as how we're the only offer, I don't think that's going to be necessary. So the 50 in last year's game was pretty much guaranteed to put you on the board. It didn't this year. It might have just been we're so low that it'll take an extra week of 50. I'm just hoping that we could be in the top 8 by the time he gets there. He might not even get there after this week with how little he's being recruited. But we'll go another week with Ramsey here. With Teray, it's close. I think we made more progress than any other team. But Arkansas is going after him fairly heavily. Olshansky, we're starting to gain a little bit of a lead here. I mean, if Badgent wasn't a gem, we probably would have given up, but we're not going to give up. I'm going to try to go after my gems here. I don't think there's anybody that I'm ready to give up on yet. Although Teray might be close. I mean, looking at those pipeline tiers ahead of us, I think it's time to get some hours. We now have 105 hours that we can use towards starting to build up a board of 3-star prospects. All right, we were correct in getting the Star Search pitch for Badgent, but man, Minnesota is putting in a heavy fight. The week 5 visit might save us. Again, if this guy wasn't a gem, I'd probably give up on this and just say GG's to Minnesota, but I'm still hopeful that we can get a nice little complimentary visit going. Now, Asamoah needs to get into his top 5 soon. I mean, we're in, I think, week 3 right now. So he needs to get there next week. I don't know if he's even going to be able to come onto a visit for week 5. That could be catastrophic. Because then we just don't get the complimentary visit for Badgent. At that point, we're losing to Minnesota. Let's just hope it's enough, man. Oh, this could be unfortunate. The good news is other than Badgent, the other guys on our list we're looking pretty good with right now. Olshansky, we keep our lead. We did get onto the board, and in fact, we got all the way up to number 1. For Ricardo Ramsey, who is now in his top 8. Blunt, we remain the only guy left. I said we were going to start filling out our 3-star board. I promise these are the last 4 stars I'm adding, but they were very softly recruited 4 stars left, kind of replacing some of the positions. I know we lost a tackle, and this is obviously a center, not a tackle, but an offensive lineman to replace the offensive lineman we got off our board, and a defensive tackle to replace the defensive tackle we removed. We only have 25 hours remaining, which I don't think is really enough to scout another player or anything. So I'm just going to switch for this week to ascend the house on Marquis Blunt here. And that is going to be our plan for recruiting this week. And we're just losing out on Badgent, man. That is unfortunate. We're not going to get a 4-star receiver gem in our class. Not only did Asamoah not get into his top 5, which we needed him to be able to schedule him for a week 5 visit, but in addition, I just don't even think he's making it to week 5. He's committing to Minnesota this week, so waste of visit hours, unfortunately, kind of twofold. But we'll get those 50 hours back, which will be nice. We'll get some more back once we switch him back to just contacting his friends and family. But really unfortunate to lose out on a gem here. Kentucky is making some progress. BYU has entered the game for Asamoah. These running backs just aren't being recruited at all, which I personally love to see. These other battles going pretty well. We might be able to get a solid group of 4-stars. We're going to inevitably lose at the end of some of these battles once some of the pipeline teams come in heavy. But for now, it's looking pretty good. With Anthony DeBeer here, we know what his hard sell is because we know 2 of them. We know it's not this one, and we know it's not this one, which leaves only this. Unfortunately, there's an F in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sway him towards football influencer and then also soft sell him on the one that we know that it is. I'd be interested to see how that works. We're doing kind of a risk-free test here because we're the only one offering him, but I'd be interested to see what this combination could do. We could also schedule him for a visit, so we could still get a complimentary visit, and it just wouldn't be during a bye week. I mean, do we try to get some complimentary visits in for week 6? We could bring in an offensive lineman to go with a running back and a quarterback because Asamoah will get into his top 5 next week for sure. I still think trying to get a complimentary visit will be the way to go. We could do it here with Olshansky. So his cost 15. We don't know what his will cost. His cost 25. Yeah, I think we're still not for week 5 anymore. Mostly because a loss is only going to go down 1 arrow, which helps. It'll be a blowout loss. We're experimenting here because we just don't really know with a lot of this stuff yet. I haven't ever tried to rebuild a 0 overall team, so I've never tried to schedule a visit on a week that you're going to lose by 100. Time to schedule that. Wait, do quarterbacks not get boost with, is it only centers and not guards? I thought for sure we'd be getting, well, we fumbled the bag hard on this one. We're not getting any complimentary boosts here. That really sucks, honestly. I don't know how much this visit is even going to help us or if it might even hurt us at this point. So football influencer is a possibility. Or it could be this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to soft sell them both. And we'll see which one it is. Was the other one football influencer? Yeah. I hope it's football influencer. I think we look a little bit better there, right? Yeah, we definitely look better at football influencer. Add in the additional 10. So we were unable to sway him. I think you can try multiple weeks though, right? It's not like if he didn't get swayed this week, he'll never get swayed. Still like 0 risk, so I'm going to keep doing this. Why not? We have his Carmen. We have 2 A+ and an F. I don't actually know how that does in terms of a hard sell. So we did the same thing with Olshansky, and we got, yes, the better one. So coach connection is the correct hard sell. which I'm forgetting which icon that was, but we'll find it real quick. This one right here. Couple of A's and a C plus on that. We'll take it. As it looks like Indiana might be coming in hot. We have a visit scheduled soon. I'm hoping switching to the hard sell on his ideal pitch helps that a lot. So we know what Ricardo Ramsey's is, but it's not a very good one. Could we go for a sway and a soft sell again? The same thing that we did here, because I think he has the exact same situation. We'll try it. A sway on Football Influencer. And a soft sell on the one right next to it. We might be scheduling him for a visit. We'll see what happens there. And we see the only guy now. Osimo also reaches top 5, but we already did his stuff. Hopefully we don't get overtaken. I'm really worried that we screwed up these visits. Again, visits were never really going to be much of an asset for us this year. It's just hard. We can... Do we schedule a week 9 visit here? I don't think he'll have his decision made by then. All these are only... Because we're so bad, it's only 1- for losing. So I still think it might be worth it in some of these cases. And we're using these hours at a rate where I just can't really add players to my board. So I'm just going to go here. We're going to waste 5 hours this week, but I don't think that's going to be the end of all time. As long as it's only 5, sometimes I'll waste them. So I think we've done all we can for this week. Asamoah was Football Influencer, which is the one that we wanted him to be. I think the double soft sell helps Kentucky get some ground here, but I'm hoping... Again, the hard sell on the ideal pitch plus the visit week, despite the fact that it's not complimentary. I hope that still helps us out. Guess we maybe should have waited till week 9 and we could have got the center, because I do believe that's for sure complimentary. I don't know why I thought running back was complimentary with the quarterback, but I definitely did. So we have visits for DeBeer, Asamoah, Carmen, and Olshansky here. Indiana making a serious play. Depending on how it looks after this visit, we might be done with Olshansky, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So another week of not getting Football Influencer. Who's the other person we did that with? Did not work with Ramsey either. But Memphis still not really in the race, so I'll keep it. We have 50 hours to spend. That's actually enough, especially if I go back down to 25. We can start to add players to our board again, which will be nice. Although we could also schedule visits. I'm just not sure how much they're actually helping. But we do need to switch here. Looks like we're going to have... I mean, this is another guy that could have Football Influencer, right? No, he doesn't. What does he have then? It's not this. It's not that. It's this one. Okay, so we're going to do the soft sell there. I mean, we've done this so many times. This is our best pitch right now. We'll hold off on scheduling the visit, and I'll get some more players on the board. The problem with a lot of these guys is these deal breakers. Brand exposure, we have B, which I don't think really should go down much out of, if at all, but being at a B, probably maybe going down to a B- in the near future, just means that by the time they start to get good, they'll transfer, because it's definitely not going up, and then pro potential is definitely going down. So a lot of the 3 stars that have interest in us just aren't going to be long-term players. I am looking for conference prestige deal breakers. I'm looking for playing time deal breakers. And then I'm looking for proximity to home deal breakers. I know he's a 3-star, not a 4-star, but so many receivers, 82 speed, especially these elusive route runners. I don't think I've seen an elusive route runner have higher than 85 speed. So I just this might be another archetype that I just nix off my list. In addition to raw strength offensive linemen, just these guys are so slow. They're supposed to be elusive, but I guess they're quicker than fast. But I mean, this guy doesn't look great, but we'll add him onto our board. We'll give him the scholarship. He's not in his top 8 yet, and we're on his list, so I don't feel bad not having any hours in him yet. This other guy just had 74 speed at linebacker. It's just not enough, so we're going to take him off. So it looks like the visits are still fairly positive, despite losing 178-0 to a top 25 team. I didn't know that I was selling ourselves short when I was saying we were losing by 100, but there you have it. Still some positive. We ended up making more ground than Kentucky, although he has to commit before week 11 because a visit is certainly going to push him over the top for Kentucky. And yeah, I still think, okay, we did get a complimentary visit for DeBeer and Olshansky, just neither of them were good for. So we have the sway chance on something that has 2 check marks is supposedly really good, but it's been like 3 or 4 weeks now in a row where the sway hasn't worked for DeBeer. Is that supposed to be like a one and done thing where if you don't get it, it's just never happening? Because they don't make it sound like it's that way, but certainly kind of feels that way based on the results here. We're going to, same thing with, okay, no, because it did work with him. So we're just getting super unlucky with our sway chance, I guess. We'll get football influencer now and shoot him some DMs because that's how we be. We're up to first on Cisco. Yippee Skippy. Got 25 hours left. I guess this is just another week where we'll shift this. Been going back and forth between 50 and 25 on this guy almost every other week. Don't really feel the need to bring him in for a visit unless we find a complimentary one, which we could. Could also use those 25 hours to schedule a visit with Manning. That could be something we can do in another week. We're still, I think our next available week is week 9, which is still a couple weeks away. So no rush. I think I'm going to actually wait until I need to schedule visits, learning from the receiver quarterback mishap that we had to make sure that we're getting good complimentary visits. Stop me if you've heard this before, but we're going to try to soft sell one pitch and sway football influencer. We've done this exact move on how many prospects at this point? I don't even know. So this is week 8. So if we want to create some sort of week 9 complimentary visit, it has to be now. Unfortunately, we're going to lose Olshansky. That's just, it sucks. But the pipeline bonus from Indiana has put them over the top. So we're getting those hours back, and I'm going to put them into a complimentary visit if we can. So we'll go playing time, of course. And this should be a complimentary visit right here. So we'll go playing time again. We could go, we have 15 hours left. I'll try to set up something complimentary for week 11. That'll include Joy here. It'll be Conference Prestige. And these guys have just unlocked their cells, so we'll do that as well. We've got another soft cell sway combo, but this time it's actually for different pitches. I think it's the first time we're not trying to sway somebody into football influencer. But that's what we've got for Jose Joy here. And that uses up all our hours here for another week. Carmen, I hope, can cross the finish line before USC catches up. We're still staying just barely on top of Kentucky. Oh, I feel like we're going to lose them in like week 11. It's going to be so rough. And Beard just refuses to be swayed. Screw sway chance, I guess, with Anthony DeBeer. It is what it is. Another week of recruiting done. Will Asamoah commit in the next 2 weeks? Because it's week 9 now. If by the end of week 10 he commits to us, we'll get him. If he's still uncommitted at week 11, we're losing him, unfortunately. That's just going to be so unfortunate, man. We're also going to lose on Matthew Manning, it looks like. All of a sudden, we're not gaining any interest in him. So I had a double soft sell on, and apparently that's better than what we have now. Did this work? I mean, our sways, despite doing like high chance sways, have been so atrocious, I guess, in terms of how well they're actually working. But it is what it is. I mean, we could switch off this. I'll just hard sell you. I don't even care to sway you because nobody else is trying. Should get Ricardo Ramsey somewhere in the near future, which is nice. Oh, it's week 8, so yeah. I think after his visit, he'll probably come to the squad. What do I do here? Do I try to sway for another week? We'll lose him if we do. Just Alabama and Oklahoma coming in with the 5-tiered pipelines. We're going to lose that one. There's just no chance we get that one. We're probably going to lose Asamoah as well because I don't think he's going to commit before week 11. If he does, that'd be a miracle. Making some serious progress on Cisco, which you love to see. Georgia is in the mix. So this whole thing doesn't really seem to be working. Sway chance is terrible. And I know I can get increased sway chance as part of, that's like one of the new tier 1 abilities for recruiters. So I could theoretically do that. But that just doesn't seem like the best use of my time. Or my coach points, more rather. We've also yet to have a single commit. So I don't know if my strategy has really worked. Like I said, we desperately need 35 players. We have 0, and the season's almost done. So maybe a questionable decision by me. There we have it. Our first commit. It is 4-star safety Brendan Carmen. Finally got into the top 3 schools for DeBeer as well, which you love to see. I mean, the good thing about not having people commit so far is that the transfer portal goes very quickly. So worst case scenario. Oh, we might get a commit this week from Asamoah. We need it. That looks like it might be enough to get him to commit. Please don't be some stupid recruiting battle, because we'll lose a recruiting battle. I did get a 3-star quarterback who we found is a gem, in case we don't get him, and honestly, maybe even if we do get him. So there's that, which will be fun. Ooh, joy. So it doesn't look like what we did really helped. I was trying to get a nice complimentary visit scheduled, which we can do here with Jason Cisco. There. We can also now hard sell. How good is our sell? 2 A's? Yeah, I'll take a sell with 2 A's at this point with our team. Where is this one? Right there. Conference Legend. They changed the names, which I don't know why they felt the need to do that. I'm still going to go after this guy, even though we might actually get our guy. I A week ago, I did not think it was going to happen, but I think that's enough. You just got to hope it is. And, oh my goodness, it finally happened. We swayed Anthony DeBeer. Finally, some good news. I felt like we desperately needed it. Hopefully, we can actually start to get some progress on him now. I feel like recruiting has just been slower. My ideas kind of backfired because I feel like a lot of guys would would commit at like week 6 or 7. And so you could kind of have basically 2 boards. That was my strategy in college football 25. I think just we're losing so much that it's taking everyone just longer, which I knew that we were going to lose, but I don't think it would affect us as this much. So Ramsey should commit. Asamoah, we hope, commits this week. And our class will start to look a little bit better, but with 100 hours, still got some 3 stars to add. Ricardo Ramsey has committed. And no, he didn't commit. We got the recruiting battle. We're going to lose. Are you kidding me, dude? We're losing the recruiting battle because he's on a visit. How is that not a commit to us? We are so far ahead of Kentucky, but we're going to lose. Oh my gosh. That is heartbreaking. We're going to lose Asamoah. Oh no, we just found a 3-star gem tackle and he locked us out immediately. That sucks. We'll go with this other tackle, I guess. He's not a bust. We're number 1 now on Holyfield, so we got a 3-star gem quarterback to take his place. We're down to 2nd on Joy. We're going to lose. We're late enough in the season. Could I be hopeful that he just doesn't make his commitment until the offseason? And then Georgia, sometimes the teams will just stop recruiting the freshmen and they'll switch to the transfer portal. We also have a visit this week. I'll go 1 more week, although that's probably a lost cause. Sauer also probably a lost cause here. We could try to set something up in week 13. Maybe to salvage it. We will get Anthony DeBeer, so we'll get 2 of our gems, but we're going to miss out. So we got 50% of our gems. I really wanted Asamoah, though, man. That would have been a sick quarterback to start our rebuild with, but it's not happening. I'm not going to take my hours off of him, though, just because I'm stubborn like that. But so far, the season's almost done. We have 2 commits. That's crazy. Still got 75 hours to find another one, though. The visit did not help Joy. We're done. I said I was going to leave a lot of these battles early, and I just really haven't. We're done with Sauer. I know we scheduled him for a visit, but that's not happening. Will we still get Asamoah? Did Kentucky lose in their Week 11 visit? I'm not crazy, right? We're in Week 12 now, right? We still might get Asamoah. How did they not eclipse us in their visit week, man? That's awesome. DeBeer will commit to us next week. Ooh. Cisco getting recruited elsewhere. There was a receiver that looked pretty decent. I mean, this guy's only got 84 speed, but honestly, I don't have a single receiver yet. So 84 speed coming right up. Jeez. Obviously, nobody's going to commit that we're just adding to our board right now, but we're just hoping to get a head start for the offseason for some of these guys. Still looking for more receivers. I mean, I need so many positions, but receiver's the one that I've neglected the most, unfortunately. I might need to start going for guys that have like brand exposure or something, even though they're probably going to commit at some point. Transfer at some point. We just need a roster for next year at this point. I mean, this guy, no, he's going to Michigan. All right, here's a couple more guys we can add, but it is looking bad out here. We'll just say that. Can we get some speed? We get a bust. A bust with 83 speed might be where I draw the line. All right, we have 75 hours. We'll give... who looks better? You have really good route running. We'll give you 50. And we'll give you 25. Now we have three 3-star receivers, all super slow on our board. Could we still win? Asamoah. We'll get the decision probably this week. Anthony LeBeer will recruit this week. We'll commit this week. I don't know why I keep messing up those words, but there you have it. Some tight battles down the line. I want everyone to say a quick, prayer, wish, whatever it is you do. The Asamoah decides to be a Utah Tech gremlin. Anthony DeBeer, the number one guy on our board from day one. Took him the entire season, but he decided to commit. And Muhammad Asamoah is a Utah Tech gremlin. I take it all back. I made no mistakes. I wouldn't do anything different. I probably would, but we got the number one and number two players on our board. We got 3 out of the 4 gems that we had at the top of our board. Our commit list is way too small right now, but ultimately that's fine because we're just gonna have to go absolutely buck wild in the transfer portal, which we could totally do. We can totally do that. You'll get the increased hours during the offseason. Of course, every team gets the increased hours, but I'm liking where we're at. Cisco might commit to Louisville, which would suck. We're getting Holyfield as well. We're now heavily into the mix there. Haven't yet popped up on his board, but things looking a lot better than they did just a little while ago. Blunt's not going to commit before the offseason, so we'll just put like 5 points into him. I mean, honestly, we're obviously not going to pull his off or anything, but this should be an easy get in the offseason. Actually, we do want him to get to his top 3 though, because doesn't it like reset everybody once he gets to his top 3? We'll keep it on the soft sell, actually. That was a long way of me talking about for us to ultimately just stick to the same, but hey. Dang it, we lost out on Cisco ultimately. I thought we'd at least... I mean, how did we not get a recruiting battle here when Asamoah got one? Ultimately, the Asamoah one didn't end up hurting us, so no big deal. But here in the last week, I even started hard selling him. I just want him to be a decision in week 1 of the offseason. That's kind of what I've come to the conclusion on. And we'll switch all these guys to hard sells, or at least as many of them as we can. I think we should be able to switch all of them, maybe. Yeah, actually, that'll be the perfect amount once we do that. I've gone past the point where I'm not scouting people anymore. It's just not worth it. You could have argued that I shouldn't have been scouting people from the beginning. But I was just some of these athletes, but like maybe at offensive line where they're not going to show you the athleticism anyway, just go for it without scouting. That could have been a very valid argument, but some of the more athletically inclined positions, scout them for sure. So here we are. Got 10 guys. Got 50 hours on. None of them are going to like make any decisions. So they should still all be on our boards. I mean, Oregon coming out of nowhere for this guy. We're catching up with Northwestern here. So they'll all be guys that we'll have to finish up in the off season, and then we'll try and have a pretty awesome portal. Right now, we have 14 guys out of 35 on the board. Plenty of work to do in the off season. With the 0-12 season complete, we are going to fire our offensive coordinators. Hope that we can get some good coaches to join us. We, of course, have the F prestige as we just had the worst year in college football history, of course. If we go to team schedule, 140, 163. So let's see, what was the worst loss? It was that 178-0 visit week for Asamoah and DeBeer and all those guys. Our best effort was Ball State, 140-0. We kept it within 140. Kept it within 20 touchdowns, baby. Not really much, obviously, to look at in terms of stats or anything. I mean, we could look just to see. Let's see. Let's look at our season stats. He was 4 for 323, 1 for 187, 46 yards. Not bad. You actually have to go. Okay, so reliably terrible. Our quarterback was aptly named negative 600 yards rushing, which completely wiped out his 46 yards passing. Receiving, our leading receiver was Jet Moore, a speedster, 12 speed. Connor Norman led up 52 sacks. I mean, our corner got 124 tackles. I mean, go him, right? Obviously not going to have anything here. And there you have it for our season stats. Gunnar Stockton is your Heisman Trophy winner on the season. I'm sure Georgia fans certainly would not be opposed to that. Turner Josie is your Ray guy. Is that our punter? Because there wasn't a... I mean, let's... Did we get an award? You got to be kidding me, for best punter. He's a 12 overall punter, though. Yeah, we had the best punter in the country. Despite being a 0 overall, he just did it so much that, you know, it is what it is. Early National Signing Day. Where do we stand? We missed out on Jason Sisko. He ends up with impact development trait. But our guys here. Elite development for Anthony DeBeer. Wow. Elite development for Mo Asamoah. You've got to be kidding me, dude. 2 elite devs in the backfield for year 1. We will have no offensive line to block for them. But we'll see if they can make plays regardless. Elite dev for Brendan Carmen as well. I should have kept that receiver gem on our board to see if we had a chance at 3 elites. Normal dev for Ricardo Ramsey, unfortunately, but honestly, I'm fine with it. But elite for the number 1 and 2 players on our board. I had lost hope in getting Mo Asamoah, but he is the quarterback of the future for the Utah Tech Gremlins. Can we build a team around these guys? Definitely not for year 1. Year 1, freshman year, is going to be very rough. Hopefully not to the point of them wanting to transfer. They'll get their playing time, that's for sure. But can, by the time we're year 2, year 3, build a team around these 2 in the backfield? That is going to be the question that we will answer here. We will be getting to the off-season recruiting period, the transfer portal, of course, getting these guys geared up and all that in the next episode. Transfer portal to try and finish out this class. That episode will be coming out soon, and I will see you then. Let's go, Gremlins.